You know the story, right? Jacob is finally heading home after 20 years away, and he's about to come face to face with his brother Esau. And he is absolutely terrified. So he comes up with this plan. He divides everything he has, his family, his possessions, into two camps. Now on the surface, it looks like a desperate hedge, a last-ditch effort to save at least half of his world. But what if I told you this famous strategy wasn't just a clever military tactic? What if it was actually a profound act of spiritual engineering, a masterclass in cosmic physics that holds the key to real divine protection? Today we are going deep, way beyond the surface of this story, to uncover a blueprint for survival that operates on a completely different level of reality. So here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the story as it unfolds on the ground, the pure drama of it all. Then we're going to uncover the hidden spiritual core of Jacob's camp, the secret presence glowing in the tent. From there, we'll get into the weeds and explore the cosmic blueprint behind his every single move. We'll even see how this entire strategy was basically painted onto the landscape with spiritual colors. And finally, we'll wrap it all up and see how this ancient plan gives us a powerful model for protecting what's most sacred in our own lives today. I want you to really picture this scene. It's the night before the big confrontation. The air is just thick with dread. You can feel it. Imagine flickering torchlight cutting through the pitch-black desert, casting these long, dancing shadows. And there's Jacob, moving with this incredible focus, personally overseeing the division of his entire world. He's separating the flocks, the servants, his children, and his wives into two totally distinct groups. And listen, this is not a random split. It's a carefully calculated line drawn in the sand, a physical barrier against total annihilation. The tension is just wow. It's off the charts. Every single decision is literally life or death.
I mean, from a purely logical, worldly point of view, this is genius. It's basically Portfolio Theory 101. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. If Esau, who represents this overwhelming force, comes and attacks one camp, well, the other one has a fighting chance to get away. He's minimizing his potential losses. He's hedging his bets. He's trying to guarantee the survival of his family line. Any general, any CEO, any strategist would look at this plan and just nod their head. It's pragmatic, it's intelligent, it's a leader doing everything he can to protect his people. Makes perfect sense.
And right here, this is the question that changes everything. Was Jacob simply playing the odds? Or was he tapped into something deeper, seeing the world not just as a physical battlefield, but as this dynamic dance of spiritual forces? The Kabbalistic masters tell us that what we see on the surface, the pshat, the simple story, is just the outer shell. Jacob's actions were plugged into a profound understanding of a hidden reality. So no, he wasn't just hedging a bet, he was building a divine fortress.
Okay, so here we make a huge shift. We're moving from the battlefield to the sanctuary. Because the real key to Jacob's strategy wasn't the division itself, it was what that division was organized around. See, he wasn't just creating two equal camps, he was creating a core and a perimeter. He knew where the source of all blessing and all protection was, and he built his entire world around it. The secret isn't in the camps, it's in the tent.
And this right here just lays out the difference perfectly. A worldly strategy is all about scattering your assets to mitigate risk, right? You spread things out so that one hit doesn't wipe you out completely. But a divine strategy, that's all about concentration. It's about alignment. It's about finding your spiritual center of gravity, that source of true power, and organizing everything in relation to it. Jacob understood that real protection doesn't come from physical distance, but from spiritual proximity to the divine. His two camps were not equal. One was a buffer, the other was the sanctuary.
So what was this spiritual center? It's a concept called the Shekhinah. Now for the mystics, this is not some abstract idea. The Shekhinah is the tangible, feelable, dwelling presence of the divine in our physical world. It's described as a light, a palpable holiness, a presence that you can actually locate. And Jacob, with his incredible spiritual vision, knew exactly where this presence was most concentrated, in the tents of his wives, Leah and Rachel. They were the matriarchs, the vessels for the future of the 12 tribes. They were the anchor point for divinity in his entire world.
So let's go back to that scene in our minds. While that outer camp is filled with the nervous sounds of animals and anxious servants, there's a totally different vibe in the inner camp. Here, centered right around the tents of Leah and Rachel, there is a serene, almost palpable glow. It's an inner light, a spiritual radiance that literally pushes back the darkness. And this isn't just pretty poetry. For the mystics, this was the reality Jacob perceived. He knew that this presence, this Shekhinah, was the ultimate source of protection. And so the entire formation, the whole strategy, was engineered to shield this sacred core.
Okay, so if the Shekhinah
is the what. Then the Sephirot are the how. Now we're getting into the deep mechanics, the spiritual architecture that Jacob used to build this fortress. Trust me, he wasn't just winging it. He was deploying a divine blueprint, arranging his camp according to the very structure of reality itself, the 10 Sephirot, or the divine emanations. This chart breaks it all down. Jacob himself is Tiferet, or harmony. Think of him as the central organizer, the one balancing the whole system. Now, at the core, he places Leah and Rachel. They represent Malchut, the foundation. They are the vessel holding that divine presence. This is the precious cargo, the future that absolutely must be protected. The outer camps, they are the buffer zone, the active defense system. And the threat, Esau, he embodies raw, unfiltered judgment, or gevura. So Jacob's genius wasn't in trying to destroy this threatening energy, but to manage it, to contain it, and to meet it with his buffer system far, far away from his sacred core.
For anyone living in the 21st century, think of it like this. This is a masterclass in cosmic network architecture. The Shekhinah, resting with Leah and Rachel, that's your primary server node. It's the core of the whole system, and it contains the most critical data imaginable, the source code for the future 12 tribes. So Jacob, as the system architect, clusters all his critical assets right around this core for maximum protection. And the outer camps, he sets them up as firewalls, as buffers, as failover systems. Their job is to absorb any incoming attacks, any denial of service attack from Esau, to make sure the main server stays online and uncorrupted. He literally designed a system with divine redundancy.
And get this, even the numbers here are telling a deep story. On the surface, you just see division, right? 2 camps. But look at the spiritual math. You've got 2 camps, plus the 3 patriarchal lines guiding the whole structure, and the 12 future tribes at the core. When you add it up, you get a structure that points to the number 13. And in Kabbalah, 13 is the number of unity. It's the numerical value of the word echad, which means 1. So Jacob's physical act of division was actually engineered to create a spiritually unified whole, a structure that could pull down a level of mercy that transcends conflict.
So let's add another layer to this incredible cosmic map. The mystics teach that these spiritual energies, these Sephirot, also have corresponding colors. Now, we're not talking about physical paint, but symbolic expressions of their unique energy. So Jacob wasn't just arranging people and animals, he was literally painting a spiritual map on the canvas of the desert night, using these forces to create a shield of divine light.
This spiritual color coding is absolutely crucial. At the very center, right around his family, Jacob concentrated the spiritual color white. This is the light of Chesed, pure mercy, the ultimate protective frequency. Then, he externalized the color red, the raw, fiery energy of Gevura, of judgment and threat, which was personified by Esau. He made sure that this threatening red energy would be met way out on the perimeter, where it would clash with his buffer camps, far away from the pure white light at the core. He was literally keeping the danger zone at a distance.
Okay, so this is all fascinating cosmic theory, but the real power of this whole thing is how we can apply it. Jacob's story isn't just some historical or mystical account, it's a practical guide. So let's bring this profound lesson right down to earth and see how we can use this blueprint of protection in our own lives, especially when we face our own Esau forces, and we all do. Jacob's ultimate genius was his mastery of integration. He didn't choose between the physical world and the spiritual world, he fused them together. It's this 3-step path. First, you have histadlus, effort. He did everything a physical person could possibly do. He prepared for war. He sent enormous gifts to try and appease Esau. He divided his camps. He took every practical measure. Second, tefillah, prayer. He turned to God with this raw, honest, powerful prayer, admitting his fear and placing his trust in a higher power. But step 3, integration. That's the secret sauce. His strategy wasn't a backup plan in case the prayer didn't work. His physical actions were his faith made manifest. The way he set up those camps was a physical prayer, a structural embodiment of his knowledge of where the Shekhinah rested. His effort was his trust in action. Let's make this super practical. Think of your life like a video game. What is your main base? It's your core, your soul, your deepest values, your family, the stuff that is absolutely irreplaceable. That's your spiritual center. The first rule of the game is to identify and fortify that base. Then you look at your outer units, your career, your finances, your social circles. These are your outer camps. You have to use them strategically as a first line of defense. You don't put your soul on the front line of every daily battle. No way. You use your external resources to engage with the world's challenges, letting them act as a buffer, all while knowing that your main base is safe and secure.
And so that brings us to this. And this isn't just a question to think about for a second. This is a strategic life audit. Take a real moment and ask yourself, what in my life is the absolute sacred core where that divine presence rests? Is it my inner peace, my connection to God, my relationships with my spouse and children, my integrity? And once you identify it, you have to ask the second question. What camps have I built? What buffers, what strategies, what boundaries have I put in place to protect that core from all the inevitable chaos and challenges, the Esau's of the world? Jacob's ancient blueprint is a timeless gift, showing us that the secret to survival isn't about being stronger than the threat, but about being smarter, more aligned, and protecting what truly matters.
Thank you so much for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We really hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week.
If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please do like, subscribe, and share. Which part of this journey really touched your soul in the comments? We love reading them. We'll see you in the next chapter.